I learned pretty early that there were certain things men just didn't talk about growing up. I'm talking about health, money, fear, what was really going on in the family. And somewhere along the way, I learned to do some of the same things. Because sometimes telling people you're struggling feels dangerous. If I tell you I'm scared, or if I'm having financial problems, or I'm not doing well mentally, what are you going to do with that information? Because I've learned something over the years. Information can become ammunition. And sometimes we protect ourselves so well that even our wives, children, and closest friends only see the version of us we want them to see. Now, I'm not here to tell another black man to be more vulnerable. I'm asking myself something much harder. When I admit I'm not okay, is that being known worth the risk? Welcome back to Four Titles, One Truth. I'm Tommie.
And I'm Lance. Today we're talking about something I think both of us have done throughout our lives, keeping things close to the vest. What happens when a black man admits he's not okay? Let's get into it.
Growing up, what did the black men around you teach you without necessarily saying it about what a man talks about and what a man handles on his own?
Yes.
That's easy.
Because a lot of it is you get the looks. You know, you start saying something and you get you say, oh, let me shut up.
Yeah.
And then, especially when you're a kid growing up, if you don't hear that's who you're role modeling, after your father or whatever, talking about it or saying it, then as you grow up, you're going to be like, well, I don't talk about that stuff. We ain't bring that out in public places or whatever. Or if I tried to, you get a funny stare down or something, going on. So, just having respect, not lying, those things like that came up. But talking about you wasn't feeling right in the head or something, or talking about you just got took for whatever, somebody scammed you, or you spent you got some money that you tried to spend some money that you didn't have.
Yeah.
You never hear about none of that stuff.
There's a lot of secrets in our household, a lot. I'm just talking about as a black family, right? There were stories that were incomplete and things that just seemed a little off, but you didn't ask questions about it, and I think we said it before, back in the day, we're talking 20, 30, 40 years ago, if somebody said, yeah, your cousin so-and-so is off, you know what I'm saying? That lets you know that the joker crazy, but it doesn't go into detail of what they think crazy is, and you just end up passing that same message on about your cousin or your uncle or whatever. But
well, it's things I know that you because I'm learning about things now that I had no idea. Growing up, where it's like, well, I never knew. I didn't know.
Yeah, and it started with me when I started doing Ancestry. Oh my gosh, just some of the checks I'd get from my mama, and some of the closed conversations that I'd try to have that it just wasn't happening. Yeah, so, but it was mainly with my dad. He never talked about his health. He never talked about his finances, and I remember that he never told other stories about the family. It was always the popular stories. It wasn't the details and all that stuff. So,
and that's you said that about your father never talking about it. That's how my father was. He would talk about it after it was
known
out, where it was like, okay, this really has to be taken care of, but leading up to it or before, so it could be like, hey, maybe we should try to, especially when he started getting older. It was like, and I know it was just fear,
just the way it goes. Yeah.
Think about something serious you've kept to yourself. Was it truly because you believed it was nobody else's business? Or was there also a part of you that was afraid people might see you differently if they knew the truth?
I don't know that I was scared of people ever knowing the truth. because a lot of stuff that we talked about wasn't talked about. I didn't know, you know what I'm saying? And so it's not like it passed on to me to be shady about something. It was just, if I didn't know the story, I just never talked about it. You know what I'm saying? And there's, I got like 4 situations in my head right now that I'll just say that my uncle on my mother's side, there were stories and situations about him that I never really understood until I was older.
Right.
And like now, it's just not a conversation I have about the details of that. You know, it's not like I'm trying to keep it secret or anything. Right. It's just, you know, and we also talked about it, but growing up, my dad also used to say, you know, this stays in the house, you know, so there were times.
It's family business.
Yeah. There were times when you knew don't just go spreading the extra stuff, you know. And so I think I've just taken that on. But I can also admit to the bravado that's out there of everybody embellishes a story or two, you know, especially when young men or men are basically around each other and sort of one-upping each other, you know, more and more stories and maybe amplified stories do come out. But one thing I've always tried to do is when it came to military service, I would just try to, I never tried to tell, if I told a story, I always tried to make sure it was as factually as I can remember it. And because it was never, I always felt the way I showed my progress or showed my capabilities was getting promoted and getting a different job or other jobs and stuff like that. So I don't think there's anything I just kept to myself or family secret because I was ashamed of the truth.
Right.
But I do know that there were times when I was struggling financially or times when I wasn't in the best relationship situation and stuff like that. But I just didn't talk about it. I didn't try to curve it either way.
Yeah, nobody else knew. Nobody else. I know. I tell you, mine probably was whenever I was, and it's, I mean, and I know that other folks probably had the same, felt the same way. It was like after going to school, going to college.
Yeah.
Because everybody thinks you go to college and you finish.
Yeah, you're rich.
You're gonna come out exactly. You're gonna come out making all this money, and I had a double whammy. Is that I graduated from college and then I was going into the military, so I wasn't making. I wasn't making any. Wasn't making that.
Yeah, you wasn't
big
balling.
money. Yeah, coming out and people thinking it's like, oh, you gonna. And myself before I'm not thinking, I was like, oh, I'm gonna give me a Land Cruiser when I graduate.
How'd that go?
I was rolling in my Corolla I was in that Corolla for another 4 years or so. But I mean, I never talked about how much I was making, you know, whenever I was, especially when I was younger coming up, because it's like I wasn't making any money. I didn't have any money. Yeah. Because, and we laugh about it now, it's like we were broke. Because we would, and we was doing stupid stuff. I know I told you about this. I told y'all about this. Is we on second lieutenant pay, and this is in the 90s. So we weren't making what the second lieutenant's making now. Not even close, probably what the second lieutenants are making now. But we get our groceries, we pay our bills, little insurance. We putting away our money for our retirement and future, all of that stuff. And we got, look at our thing. We could probably got about $400 in the bank for the, next 2 weeks or whatever, to do whatever. And we say, man, we want a dog. Look in the paper and say, oh, man, there's a Cocker Spaniel because we want to get a Cocker Spaniel. It's $200. Okay, cool. So
Hey.
you go get that dog for $200, but then not thinking it's like, okay, we gotta
Your first
get
kid.
get food. We
Yeah.
gotta get the all the little bowls, the
grooming,
beds. You gotta
yeah.
take them to get any other the shots and
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that 400 turns out to be $100 for the
in
next
the
2 weeks.
red.
So we gotta we gotta get to put gas in the car to get back and forth to work. So I mean, just
Eat
just
outside of the
just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, stupid stuff is like that you don't want to tell people. Especially kids tell them, be like, don't do that.
Yeah.
But like other folks, it's like I don't want to tell nobody. Tell
Especially
them my
if you
business.
think
Look at
it's,
me and they look at me like, man, he's
judging the
stupid.
best out of you.
But it's like, but I think about it now, and it's like it's lessons learned, man. It's like I'm telling you because I want you to know not to do what I did, and it's like
caught up like that,
But it's my thing was probably when I was probably financial stuff and where you just like nobody need to know about that stuff. That's just that's our business.
Going back and you talking about seeing green in the bank and thinking you got money. Now that don't mean that because remember I was single coming in the military for years, and so if people looked at me on the outside, they thought I was balling. You know what I'm saying? Because I had my cars, and I also had the rims on my cars. I had the systems on a car, and then I also every car after my first car, I started to take the interior as well as the exterior. So I'm trying to make sure that if somebody sees my car, somebody comes in my car, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, So I was fronting and balling too, because a specialist through private through specialist back in the 90s wasn't making no money either. But I was not saving money. I was throwing money everywhere. So if somebody thought I was balling, it's probably because I made them think I was. But then when they'd come asking for money, I'd be like, why do you think I got so much money? So I think I sort of brought it on myself. And that's what you reminded me of that when you started talking about the $400 in the bank. Is there a difference between what you're willing to tell another man, somebody at work or your wife, your children, or somebody you barely know? Who has it been hardest for you to look at and just simply say, I'm not okay?
Probably. As far as telling anybody, I don't have a problem. I'm going to tell my family.
Absolutely, yeah. If I'm going to tell somebody.
Yeah, if I'm going to say something, I'm going to say something to my family.
Yeah.
Because I'm not just going to say anything to anybody else, because you said it earlier, it's like you don't know who's listening, how they'll take it. Who you can really, truly trust, because you have some folks who you can truly trust. And like I have a few folks who I can truly trust that I can tell and not feel like they're going to come back and
use it against you or something.
Yeah, beat me up with it or whatever. But, I mean, family, absolutely, my wife, tell her, because it's like, who else am I going to tell? Because then my father is, my parents, I would also, I could talk to my parents, especially my father when he was alive, talk to him about anything. I didn't.
You tell him like real stuff.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem.
Really? Ooh.
Yeah, because that was with me happened early, probably when I was probably 14, 15. That piece where I would tell, because that's like I didn't have anybody. I felt like that was, if I couldn't tell him or talk to him or tell him about it, who could, so I told him, and I learned how to react to, because I told him some
real stuff.
Yeah. It was like, okay, so whenever my kids, came and told me or said something to me, then it was like, okay, you can't just,
if you want
blow
this
up,
open,
pop off. Yeah, if you want to. So, but my father is one that I could always, and that's probably one of the things I miss the most now.
I bet.
Because that was, I mean, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, but you got to be able to talk to your family about stuff, and then probably not, depending on who the family member is, probably not everybody. I mean, but your wife, you have to talk to your wife about everything. Because y'all in it together, boy. I mean, but y'all, that's the thing.
No,
it's like
I
you in
get
it
it, but
together
I'm
when you're
just
looking at financial, you talking about health, you talking about mental.
Yeah.
At least those three. At least those three.
I'm not arguing with you.
I ain't saying that it's easy.
Yeah. Okay.
I ain't saying that it'll be easy.
Yeah.
But that's the one that you should be able to.
I agree. If there's one entity, it should be your spouse, and then that should carry over to your children. I'm just going to tell you, man, I've grown up, not just born into secrets, but I've grown up with secrets that, and it's not like I have secrets that are like G14 classified, you know what I'm saying, that would shut down countries. I'm just talking about, I just have stuff with my parents. There's just stuff I just wouldn't talk to them about, you know. Same thing with Nikki. There's stuff, and well, even soldiers, because I always tried to be honest with soldiers and also tried to never hide my path, because I always felt, you know, it was advantageous for them to see, you know, what right can look like, and also take away what may be wrong isn't best for you. But I can tell you, man, I don't know. I don't know, man, because even in high school, I can think now of, there's plenty of stuff my parents don't know about my high school life. And then even my closest friends, there's a lot they know, but they don't know the family stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I just always, like I said, I don't like calling it secrets, because that makes me feel like I did it intentionally to keep the stories different.
Some stuff is I ain't go and tell my father. I ain't run and tell him everything. But if it was something where it's like, I can't.
No, I'm with you.
I need his help for that one.
Like,
But it's like some stuff I think you have to keep. I think you keep it to yourself just because it's safe. I mean, it's.
The one thing I can tell you is that I've always been a private person, man. I've just never been somebody that just shares a lot of stuff.
Right.
And the reason I'm bringing this up right now is because I think it was because of everything we talked about being scared of giving somebody an advantage over you, you know, and also growing up, you know, we used to clown each other, joke each other. So any weakness you had was going to be exploited, you know. So I'm just saying,
especially somebody got mad because he was getting the best of them. They come up and get personal with them.
Yeah, and even if they're your friends, they're going to get you, you know. But you still don't want to give them all the info so that they can destroy you, because you want to have your get back. You got to have a chance to get a get back. So. I'm honestly going to sit here and ask you this question, because this is all just dawning on me. So can you recall messages or things happening in your life or stories or whatever to where you purposely didn't tell somebody because of their reaction, their possible reaction to it? You can recall stuff like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had stuff that comes up where I'm walking, or I might be doing something where I'm doing something, you know, doing something by myself, comes up and be like, oh, why do that? You know, and it happened
right
decades ago.
But something happened
close to, where
and
it's
the reason you kept it was it because of embarrassment or just nobody's business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely, because it's one of those things where it's like, God. Because it's not the same, you know. It's not the person who who I look at in the mirror and I was like, why did I?
That's my point.
No,
that's my point.
Because absolutely. I got a Got a lot of them.
Okay, because when you show up to work, there's a certain way you want people to see you.
Yes.
When you show up on a date, there's a certain way you want people to see you. When you are married and you're with somebody, short time or long time, no matter what anybody tries to tell you, you still want them to have that mystique,
that
or
wholesome
feeling about protector. I can trust them. They're trustworthy and they got my back. So
any chinks, any chinks you want them to see it with you. So that's like you not the.
Yeah, you don't want to bring chinks.
Oh God, no! You don't want to bring them in. You don't want to bring the ick in before you even get anything started.
You don't want to bring your armor with a bunch of holes in it. You earn them holes together.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. We spend a lot of time thinking about what could happen if we tell somebody our business. But what about the other side? Yeah. Has there ever been a time when keeping something to yourself actually made the situation worse?
That's easy. Yeah. And it's all because of the same stuff I just said. You don't want people to think poorly. Like, for instance, and this is what I've talked about regularly, when my lights got cut off. I didn't tell nobody that story again until I was on this daggone podcast. And the only reason I told that story is because now I'm at a point, if you see that as a weakness, and I feel that way about a lot of the cold openings on the show. If you feel what I'm saying is a weakness, then the first thing is maybe you should learn the whole story, right? First. And then secondly, if you know the whole story and you still consider me weak, then there's nothing I can do about that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying I'm at a point now to where I'm less and less and less worried about how people see me.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah. I still want to represent my wife.
Yeah, I mean, still want to represent, still want to be strong, but it's like I can't. I don't have the energy to try to convince you.
Yeah.
And it's,
if you take what I'm saying and you still feel the need to twist it, then that's on you.
It's like I can't. As long as it's not going to cost me financially, it's not going to harm me bodily. Give me any bodily harm or anything like that. Then I can't, man.
Absolutely,
it's exhausting.
It's like a gentleman asked me when we were on the last cruise, and he was like, "Man," he was like, "It's very rare you see somebody." And for 7 days straight, I saw you, and I was like, that joker's having the time of his life. You know what I'm saying? and I just straight up had to say thank you. And I was like, hey, man, I said, let me tell you something. When I go on or go to a place, a vacation or anywhere, and it's meant for me to have a good time, I'm going to do everything I can to have a good time, and the way I do that is by trying to help everybody else have a good time.
Right.
And so if I go somewhere and I don't have a good time, it is purely my fault. It don't matter who the audience is. It don't matter who's with us. If I am not having fun, it's because for some reason I've chosen not to allow myself to have fun. And so think about the people who are really valuable to you in your life. The people who they know you for more than just the successes you've achieved in life. They also know you for your failures, your fears, and like we talked about, your spouse. You think at a minimum they know you the best, right? Mm-hmm. And then maybe there's things we talked about that you're ashamed of. Has allowing somebody to know the more complete version of you to you been worth the risk?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then, they know, especially when you come through that situation.
Man.
When you come through that situation and then you're not, backstepping back, or you you just growing. I guess
absolutely.
That's the main thing, is like just growing from whatever the situation is.
But it takes so much stress off of you.
That
when
too.
Somebody knows you for you, that takes away all the pretending.
That acceptance.
Absolutely.
Because it's like, if you can't accept me, what you just said, you can't accept me for
who
I am with all my flaws
it
and
wasn't meant
everything
for you
else.
to accept me.
And it's just,
let's just go this way.
Yeah.
But for me, this is like, it's exhausting trying to get people to see you the way you think you should be seen when you're not mature enough to know it's more than that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So once you get past this bravado and once you start to understand who you are, you know what I'm saying? I'm okay with people looking at me as a protector, because that's something I've always wanted, and always wanted people that are close to me to know that I got their back. You know, we're safe if we're together. But at the same time, if they say I'm always hanging out with my wife and they think that that's weird, I'm like, if you ain't hanging out, if you don't understand what I'm doing, I'm just saying, I'm not saying that people would say that. I'm just saying, if somebody picks something, like, y'all always together, right? Why don't you go, you know, where your friends at? Why are you all worried about, this is my friend, you know? Those type of things, I'm okay. I'm not worried about how people judge me. I am worried about, I've always, and I think I forever will be worried about how I present myself way more than I'm worried about how people see me. Does that make sense?
Where do you think that came from? Because I understand, because I can tell you, I feel that same way, but that came, I know that for me, it came from my father.
Oh, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
That's what
my dad always corrected me about how I was in public. He always corrected me about, and my dad's from Alabama, and he had an accent, right? And so, but he always was on me, mom as well, but speaking well, being educated, being seen as, I'm not going to put military words, my two military words in, but being seen as somebody who has the potential to be very good or great. That was always that came to me because I always wanted to impress my dad, man. Always. And so the stuff he said and the way he was, and then me taking on that name, that Jones name, and trying to, at a minimum, live up to it, let alone establish, you know, my own level of it. Yeah, it's all because of my dad and my family.
Yeah, I mean, that's that, and I can tell you also being black, being a black male, and just how you present yourself. And I'm not saying present yourself as
fake or anything.
Fake or white or whatever, but just
be you.
Yeah,
and be
authentic,
and don't be a presence of weakness.
Right.
Don't be a presence of incompetence. In other words, don't fall into the stereotypes that the world has already defined for you. Go out there and show that you are just as good or better.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, and you have to. I was going to say, because they are. I mean, whenever they see you, before you even speak or anything, they already have a preconception
100%.
in their mind of how you are and what you're going to sound like and how you're going to act and all of that stuff. So. And
I'll tell you, I'm not sure if it was my dad or one of my uncles, but I do remember that exact conversation where you don't have to work to be what they think you are. You have to work for them to see who you are. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And that is all, absolutely, you know, that you're not, that you are not garbage, because that's what the stereotypes are. Yep. You know, that you are capable and confident.
You are less than.
Yeah, that you are not. Yeah.
I think there's something important we have to acknowledge. Everybody hasn't earned the right to know everything about us. Some things are private. And some of us have lived long enough to know that when you put information in the wrong hands, it can come back as ammunition. But this conversation has made me ask myself a different question. When I keep something to myself, what am I actually protecting? My privacy, my family, or the image I want people to have of me? Because there's also a cost to carrying everything by yourself. So maybe the answer isn't telling men to share more. Maybe it's being honest enough with ourselves to recognize when privacy is protecting us and when it's protecting an image we're afraid to let go of. Because sometimes saying, I'm not okay, to somebody who's earned your trust isn't weakness. It's allowing somebody to finally know the man behind the armor.
Brother, I think that's the distinction I want to leave with. We're not telling another black man what he needs to share. We're not telling him who he needs to trust. And we're definitely not saying everybody deserves access to everything he's been through.
Not at all.
We're just asking ourselves the question, am I keeping this to myself because it deserves to be private, or because I'm afraid of what you'll think of me if you know the truth?
If this conversation made you think about something you've been carrying, or even about someone who's earned enough of your trust to hear the truth, we'd like to hear your perspective. And if you know another husband, father, veteran, black man, or simply another man who might see himself somewhere in this conversation, share this episode with them. And as always, let's keep the conversation going.
Hey, holla.
All right.